It recognizes our belief in God, our country, not just individuals, our country, our founding fathers codified this in the documents that founded this country. Our reliance, our belief in God, and our reliance upon God. Of that, there's just no debate on that. You may like it, may not like it. Declaration of Independence, we find these truths to be self-evident, that we are endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, of which are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It goes on in the Constitution to say we are putting together this Constitution in a preamble to secure the blessings, not only for ourselves, for posterity. And that Constitution followed with a Bill of Rights that enumerated those godly rights given to man, including the very first one, which was a right to believe in God and to express that belief anytime, anywhere, including the public square.
33 million. It's proven to the money investors that people want something to feed their souls, not just their worst desires.
Absolutely.
And
yes, indeed.
This kind of sums up my entire dialogue career on the heat of the night. You ready for this? Okay, this is it. My 7 years on the heat of the night. My dialogue all summarized into this. Get right on it, Chief.
But Bubba's my name. I like my iced tea sweet and my women the same. I'm your brown-haired badge here in little old Sparta, but nobody's bigger or tougher or smarter. If you're looking to fight, best not be with me. Gonna be held tight, well now we'll just see. You never know in the heat of the night on TNT. Heat of the night on TNT. Now I don't put on any airs, but then I ain't no slob. Just a redneck boy with a blue-collar job. The ladies I date, they gonna have them some fun.
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Sinlaw, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
From NFL quarterback to Hollywood to the mayor's office, and now behind the mic at KXEX, this is the Alan Autry Show. No retreat.
And so, my fellow Americans, ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
What the hell's going on out here? Everybody grabbing out there. Nobody. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Today, I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
So, 5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes! Unbelievable. We are live. We are
You're listening to the Alan Autry Show on the best talk in town. Talk Radio 1550 KXEX.
And welcome to Alan Autry No Retreat. It is Big Manic Monday. Those of you who are watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, my sidekick here has gone completely bonkers. I'll let him tell you why. I don't think it's any big deal. There we go.
The confetti might have landed in your water.
Some old dude, I got a cat out back, me, just turned 71. That's no reason to celebrate. I'm appreciative. I really am. I come in the studio today, the balloons up. Jeremy did a great job. This is just wonderful. I'm humbled. I've never been able to handle a birthday or even accept a present of any kind. I'm not good at that. I'm not being false, false humility. I never had a birthday party until I was 30. My ex-wife did it for me. I never had parties going up. A birthday was just your birthday. Might have a little chocolate cake. That was it. We never had friends over. We moved 6 times in 5 years. It was just one of those things. I never felt deprived or anything. And I come in and, he's 71. And, you tend not to celebrate as much when you realize the cost of the candles are more than the cake. You might be getting up there, and here. What did you text me last night? You said you can't wait for your big day tomorrow.
Yeah, for your big day.
Well, I texted him back. I said every day that I wake up is a big day, and no one's any bigger than the other. But thank you all, Guillermo, your family, Jeremy, all the well wishers. I woke up to a lot of texts today. And I saw Arnold Schwarzenegger. His birthday, I think, is July 6th or 3rd. It's close to us.
Yeah.
But my big thing with him was for about 27 days. He's 6 years older than me.
Oh.
Then in 3 weeks I catch up with him. He's 5 years older than me. So I had to. It's always led to jabby with that. But I read he's got this, and I recommend it. He's got this email, Guillermo, that goes out. It's all about fitness. No politics, just how to stay fit. It's a daily deal. And I'll give you guys the email link here one day. I don't have it on.
Is it free?
Yeah, it's free.
Okay.
But in his little note that he sends out today, he said, thanks for all the well-wishers, happy birthdays and all that. But he's got everything that he wants and needs. And don't buy me a present or anything like that. And I feel the same way. Now, material things, certainly I don't have as much as our sports sticker by a long shot. But to the things that matter, family, God, family, live in the greatest country still in the world, friends like you, Guillermo, Jeremy, and wife, family, and all sorts of. I got everything. You folks out there that tune in to give of your time, 1 hour a day with me. I treasure you. I thank you. I got all I need, and really all that I want. I have. So,
amen.
But thank you.
Hey, listen.
Before we get to the article, this took some planning.
It did,
Look at this plate. It says a little plate there. You put, I guess, cake on there. So it's like what they call a Hollywood slate. Here, that's what that is. Slate, yeah. They do that for the sound thing. Speed marker, boom, they snap that thing. They're ready to go.
This is scene 71.
Yeah, scene 71.
Scene 71. Alan Autry. But listen, we got
thinking 10 more years I can run for president.
Yeah. Gotta be a little.
I'm almost there. I'm almost old enough to run for president.
Just almost. And your mental acuity has to go a little bit way down. But hey,
I get 10 years to get ready to run.
Speaking about presidents and surprises, so we do have a surprise for you. All right, we contacted the last 1, 2, 3, 4 sitting presidents. Okay, and we asked them to send you a specific birthday message.
Okay.
All right. Bill didn't get back to us. W said he was busy painting. As soon as he finished his paint, he'd get right back to you.
I spent an hour with W.
Yeah, I know. We told him
in the limo.
We told him in the limo.
Didn't do anything. He didn't remember, did he? Okay.
And then Trump's busy campaigning, and he's a little hurt about the deal still about in Fresno.
About running horse.
Running horse. And I was like, my guy had nothing to do with it.
Oh man, I got a bone to pick with him.
So
and Cohen and Ivanka.
Yeah, and Joe Biden, he just didn't know who. We kept saying Alan Autry, Bubba, and he was of no help.
He said he had no interest in meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu.
Yeah, he did. Bubba, BB. But one guy,
not BB, it's Bubba.
Bubba. One guy did get back to us.
All right,
and he sent us some audio. Ready? Hit it.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Barack Obama.
My friend Barack.
Alan Autry.
Well, President Obama.
Thank you, Obama.
Being such a nice guy, I take back every word of criticism that I had for you during your 8 years.
There you go.
You're a good guy. And it's great that you're out of office. I appreciate your service. Goodbye. You started all this stuff, you know. I mean, you can do whatever, bro. You can do a million good things, and you will go down in history as the one that gave us Joe Biden.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah.
So,
Oh man, don't remind me. Don't remind me.
All right.
Hold on. Before we go, it's your special day. You got to open up to the audience. What has got to be probably give us one of your most memorable moments politically. Let's start off with political. What is one of your most memorable moments you're always going to look and be proud? Because I think every political individual has to have hey, that I'm really proud of that. And some of the stuff maybe people don't know.
Well, I don't know if it was proud. One of the most memorable was there was two of them, the visit. Well, a lot of memorable moments in 8 years as mayor. But visiting the shelters in Louisiana after Katrina. When I went there, it was my home state. And the whole country, the President Bush rallied the whole country to say, hey, can you take some folks in your community? And we did. We took about 300 in. But I went visited there to tell them that, hey, something like this happens. We're all truly the United States of America. You erase away, erase any lines that are state lines. And visiting and seeing those shelters and seeing the faith of people who didn't have much to begin with. And they had just lost that. Washed away, and singing hymns, and so happy to see that. A lot of them remember me from the show In the Heat of the Night. Didn't know that I was mayor of Fresno, and just so joyous going through this. I remember the one in Baton Rouge in particular was at a gymnasium, and had a family. They would kind of obviously congregate around families there, and they were helping each other out and interacting. And there was a lady there. She was 101 years old, big fan of the Heat of the Night. We got to talking to her, and for some reason, I just started opening up about it was a challenge to my faith, and I felt like I hadn't been true to my faith like I should be. I was as mayor, I'd gotten distracted and lost my cool sometimes, and I felt that I'd gotten away from the Lord, And the funny thing about this lady, she couldn't read, but she could read the Bible. She learned how to read the Bible, but it was crazy. And she sat there listening to me, and then she took me by the hand, and she says, my dear Bubba, let me just make you feel a little bit better. He says, you may stray, but you won't stay. You raised up in the Lord. Your mama did a good job raising you up in the Lord. You may stray, but you ain't going to stay. You're going to come back to the Lord. Don't you worry about it. And I'm thinking, I came in here to try to make these people feel better and bring hope into life. And here's this 101-year-old lady in a wheelchair, in a shelter, lost everything, ministering to me. And I just left. So that's one. The other was when President Bush came to town for some inexplicable reason. I was in the greeting line. He asked me to get into the limo with him. And we were going out to Dinuba to do some function there he was going to speak to people. I think about a water issue. And okay. So
I'll go.
So I think he goes down the line after he tells me that. So we start to disperse, and I'm not going to go hang by him. But his people came over, got me, went in. He kicked Mel Martinez, one of his cabinet members, out. Who was getting in the car with him. Mel, you mind riding back there, Mel? Let the mayor in here. So it was just me and the president for almost 45 minutes.
Wow.
And we're driving through the fields. If you've ever been in California, it's a lot of agricultural fields. So we left Fresno. And we're driving down the 41 freeway. Then we turn off on the country roads. And I'm talking with the president. And let me tell you, easy guy to talk to. We talked about everything but politics. We talked from Willie Mays to his kids. And he told me that's when it just came out that he had gotten arrested for drunk driving. They were trying to make a big deal about that back when he was a kid. And he looked at me. He brought it up. So what do you say? He's going, May, I know I've heard about this drunk driving thing. And the toughest thing was telling my kids. And he says, I didn't tell them. No, I didn't ask him. I'm just sitting there. He's just opening up like you were just your best buddy that you're going out and, meet to have a, drink or something. And he said, I didn't tell him because I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed to tell him, and I should have told him. You shouldn't be so embarrassed about that. And I got to live with that. And then he went on and talked about his daddy, how his daddy made a mistake by not firming up his base. Now that's why he lost the election. You got to always remember to firm up your base. That's what I remember from the conversation. But another thing I remember was just riding through there and looking out that window. I'm riding with the most powerful man in the world, and I'm looking out these fields, the very fields I used to work when I was a kid. I used to go out and ride the tractor, drive the tractor, plowing, disking, cultivating, going out and picking fruit, just working on the farms and just passing these fields that my dad labored in. And I remember thinking, wow. I mean, minimum wage was raised on minimum wage. My mom could stretch $2.65 an hour a long ways. A farm laborer doesn't make that much money. And that you could go from those fields, that you had a shot in America, because America is the land of opportunity. If you work hard, you play by the rules, you got a chance to go from a minimum wage job, from working out in the fields, to riding with the president of the United States, and you even have a chance to be the president of the United States. And what a great country. Amen. This is unbelievable.
Amen.
And that's why they want, my life is full of these things that, to quote Don King, truly only in America. Now, there's chances of freedom in other countries, but not like America. They have such a class system all over the country. Like you go to India, God bless them, a lot of good Indian friends, but Guillermo, they got a class system there that's brutal. I mean, you're born in poverty, you stay in poverty. A lot of the folks feel. Now, I'm not speaking for all the Indian people, but those that have been there, familiar with the culture. It's a tough one to break out. You go to any other country in the world, and for minorities and poor white people, there's no place where you have more opportunity to make something of yourself, to better your lot in life, regardless of your faith, your color, your skin, or whatever. You have a chance in this great country. And that's why I guess I'm such a patriot. I'll die a patriot, because you can't unlive what you've lived. You can't say, well, that dream didn't come true. I'm in the middle of building my 15th dream, and none of them would have been possible without living in America, my high school diploma, and my college degree. That's why those three things, and find your faith, absolutely, number one. Get your walk with God right. But then, if you're born in America, whatever situation, you've hit the lottery.
Amen.
I mean, you look at what's going on around the world. Look over in Niger, going on, military coups. You look all over the world now. People are born into, people say, well, what about the slaves? I get that, and I understand that was some bad stuff in America. I'm just overall, you really have hit the lottery.
Amen. That's so true.
So anyway, that's my biggest memories of politics. The one in football, you didn't ask, but I'll tell you.
Yeah, I want another one. And acting.
Well, I made O.J. Simpson shake his head. We were playing the Buffalo Bills, and I had one chance. As a 12th round draft choice, you get one shot when they put you in a game. You either deliver, you got to be very fortunate, because I was only going to get a couple of series. And if you stink, you're done, you're cut. The next day, you're going to get a phone call, hey, Coach Starr wants to see you, and bring your playbook. So I got in at Buffalo Bills, Lambeau Field, and I was so excited, got out there, and it was like living in a dream. We're playing the Bills, and over there's O.J. Simpson, number 32. And I went back, it was called a wheel route. Willard Harold, who went to college with me, we were both drafted in the same draft.
Nice.
He slips out down the sideline. I throw him down the sideline. I'm leading perfectly. Well, a few perfect passes I threw in my career. He catches it for a touchdown, and that place went nuts. I'd never heard a crowd. The most I'd played for was maybe 15,000, 16,000. There were 60-something thousand people there. Went freaking nuts. Going up, and then I happened to look over, and there was O.J. Simpson just shaking his head like, darn that guy. I don't know. And I was like, hey, man, I made O.J. Simpson shake his head. And ironically, I would run into O.J. Simpson many years later on the heat of the night, which is another memorable moment. But
that's awesome.
Anyway, you guys, thanks for doing this. You guys didn't have to. And thanks for all the well wishes. And, I'm so thankful to make it really, I think 70 years, the Bible said, So I'm on. I'm in overtime, man. God's given me a little OT, and I'm very appreciative of the good Lord for keeping me around this long, and so thankful to all you who supported me over the years. Thanks to my family, my great friends. As Lou Gehrig said in the opening, that's why I love that clip. He was facing some very significant health challenges. He says, today I look at my life, I look at my teammates, I look at my family, and says some people think I've gotten a raw deal, but today I feel like I'm the luckiest man on the face of the earth. That's how I feel today.
Amen.
Let's take a break before I start jerking snot. This is Alan Autry, no retreat. We'll be right back. When we come back, you want to go to the Reedley thing, or you want to go to the
Reedley
right?
thing?
Let's go to the Reedley.
Yeah, let's go to the Reedley thing.
That is like weird and huge.
Yeah,
it could be.
All right, we got Heather wants to wish you a happy birthday.
Is that
Heather? What's the last? I can't see that far.
My goodness.
Unmute. Yeah, you got
I didn't know we could get
unmute. Well, we can't hear you just yet. Let's see. We can't hear you, Heather. Maybe
but I can wave.
Turn on your mic. So we put a link on the Facebook, so that way they click on it and they can say,
hello.
Hey, look at there. How you doing, Heather? Hey, look at there.
Well, I'm actually a little under the weather today, but happy birthday, Alan.
Well, you're under the weather, Heather. That's what we'll well, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that so much. I really, really do. Hey, where are you from? Where do you live?
I'm in Moscow, Idaho.
Oh, my goodness. In Moscow, Idaho, when I played football in college, we were 0-6, and they were getting ready to yank me as the quarterback and replace me. And we played.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes, we played. I believe it was University of Idaho. Is there Idaho? Yes, it's University of Idaho. And we were able
to.
Go
Vandals.
Yeah, we were able to beat them. And I was able to.
Save your career.
I take that back. That was Montana. Idaho came out to UOP and beat us. I got those two mixed up there.
Woohoo! Go Vandals.
Yeah, the Vandals. Oh, man. They laid a whooping on me, as they say.
1 minute?
We appreciate you
Thank
taking
you,
the
Heather.
time, Heather. And I hope you feel better.
Thank you. Have a great birthday, Alan.
Thank you. And stay hydrated.
I am.
Okay.
Have a good one. Bye-bye.
That's so cool. That is really, really cool.
Yeah.
How did you post that?
Yeah, we posted that in the Facebook link.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so we might be popping in and out. Hold on 1 second.
30 seconds. Five seconds.
Tune it up.
This hour of the Alan Autry Show is sponsored by Simlaw, the most realistic artificial grass in the Central Valley.
And welcome back to Manic Monday, Alan Autry Show. I appreciate it so much. They let Guillermo out of the home for an hour a day. And I get to bring him wherever he wants to go. We're going to the zoo afterwards.
Yay!
Hey, Daddy. Can I play with the rhinos? No. All right. Hey, there is a weird story developing here just outside of Fresno in a little town called Reedley, California. Not really a little town. There's some real little towns around Fresno. Riverdale's one of them. Layton, Carruthers, very small town. Wouldn't give anything for being raised in those small towns in Riverdale. Great towns. But Reedley, slightly bigger town. But Guillermo, why don't you tell folks this is this is nothing less than just crazy. What's unfolding here? Go ahead.
I would put this in the category of I told you so. I think and I pride myself in telling people the news and making sure that we're ahead of things. And I said this ever since before COVID. I said, listen, we got to be aware that the Chinese Communist Party, they're going to figure out a way, and they're always going to try and harm the United States. And COVID was a good example. And it was only a matter of time because the Chinese Communist Party has been buying up land everywhere in the U.S. So I always had a hunch that, the Central Valley where we are right now, we feed the world. This is a great agricultural producing place. And actually, I thought about it with terrorism instead. If they individuals really wanted to harm the United States on a large scale, food, right? We talked about this with Ukraine and Russia, food.
Absolutely.
So in one of our very great small town communities called Reedley, California, there was what I would call, and some people have made the same distinction, a COVID lab that sprung up. It was one of these old agricultural warehouses that was no longer in use, and they were told that it was going to be for storage. Police officer drives by, a great police officer, and Reedley's a small town. I mean, it's not like they got a huge law enforcement force. Was driving around, saw a water hose going into the building. Like, cut a hole and put a water hose through. Like, well, that don't make no sense. And he uncovered a very large illegal lab that had, and let me read it to you. It was an illegal medical lab complete with bioengineered mice, infectious agents, nearly 30 refrigerators and freezers, some of which were non-operational incubators. And this left federal, local, and state agencies pretty surprised. This is what Reedley City Manager Nicole Ziba stated. This is an unusual situation. I've been in government for 25 years, and I've never seen anything like this. The deputy director for the Fresno County Department of Public Health, Joe Prado, said, I've never seen this in my 26-year career with Fresno County. They uncovered over 800 different chemicals on sites in different bottles of different acids. Unfortunately, a lot of these are being categorized under unknown chemicals. The discovery was made after local code enforcement. I told you that. Frankly, we don't know. We knew that should not have been there. And when they went to investigate, they found that there was activity operating in the building. There were a couple of Chinese nationals there as well. There was a special room that was built.
There were Chinese nationals?
Yes. There was a special room that was built housing about 1,000 white lab mice. 1,000 white. A lot of these labels were removed from the bottles, so there was only so much testing that could be done. Here's some of the testing of those chemicals and what they uncovered. 20 potentially infectious viral, bacterial, and parasitic agents were present, including E. coli, malaria, and COVID-19. So here's kind of the thing that'll make you scratch your head. Like, man, was this uncovered last week? No, this was uncovered back in March. And the story broke last week, which begs the question, why was this kept from the small town of Reedley? Why was this kept from the larger metropolitan area of Fresno County?
Did the county board of supervisors know about this?
I'm sure. Well, I don't know. The county knew about it. So if Joe Prado with the Department of Behavioral Health knew, I'm sure the county officials knew right away, because those are the people that work right under the board of supervisors. So I would find it very hard to believe that they didn't call Brandau, Magsig, Buddy Mendez, and everybody. So there's got to be a reason why this was kept. And maybe there is a valid reason why this was kept. But this is what they're saying right now. There are no more biologicals. There are no more mice, but they still see abating. 30 freezers and medical equipment and all sorts of furniture in there. They'll see some activity, but nothing hazardous at this point. So
that's what we're giving. Wow. I can't wait to get more information on this. But this is where government officials and bureaucracies get in trouble with the public. They made a determination. Obviously, somebody knew about this.
Yeah.
In March, the cop, just by accident, finds this hose, or when would we have heard about it? And if this is true, that all of those dangerous pathogens were there being experimented on, who knows what. I mean, COVID, you said E. coli?
Mm-hmm.
What was some of the others?
Malaria.
Malaria?
Yeah, A and C, and a couple of sexually transmitted diseases.
Well, I will tell you, I'm concerned, and I'm in Fresno. You know who else is concerned and is going to be madder than hell? If you're a resident of Reedley,
yeah,
and you know these kind of infectious diseases are being fiddled around with in supposedly an abandoned warehouse, or a warehouse being told that you're being told is being used for something else, that's a big thing. This is where government gets in trouble. That's where, like the CDC, they come out and make the determination, well, we're going to lie for the good of the public. And you got guys like Fauci. You wonder why I have disrespect for Fauci, because you know it means something to me when you get up and you have your Surgeon General say masks don't work, and you know you're lying through your teeth, and you say the reason you lied when you go back and say, yeah, I did mislead. I did not speak fully the truth. No, you freaking lied. Okay, say the word. You lied to all of us and said you feel they don't work. And the reason was you thought there was going to be a run on the mask and not be enough for healthcare workers. In your mind, that is a morally justified position, because you're so much smarter and you know what's best for people than they do. You don't trust people with the truth. Then you begin to time it. Oh, no, there was no gain of function done by the NIH. We had nothing to do with gain of function. Then you're showed where you wrote checks, millions and millions of dollars to the NIH, which transferred the money to some shell company, I think EcoHealth or whatever. Bottom line, it ended up in the Wuhan lab messing around with genetically engineering the COVID virus. And what you had was the biggest natural disaster in the history of the world. Millions of people dying because of it. And now you have this on the local scale. Now, I'm not going to dish out reprimands or criticisms at this point on limited knowledge. But I'll tell you, you can damn sure take this to the bank. Whoever I find out that knew about this and stayed quiet, you need to leave your job right now. And people are really, you ought to make sure. I don't care if they're your best friend. I don't care if there has to be a consequence for this. If I was in office and I participated in something like this, I would hope somebody would jolt me back to my senses by kicking me out of office. I hope they would say, Alan, we love you. You've been like a family member to me. I voted for you. But you lied about this experimentation on deadly bacteria and viruses here in our town, and you didn't trust us with the truth. So I really feel you have to go. I would hope, because to not do that, I would have had to have lost my senses. I would have to have lost my way. So and there could be good people. Again, I don't want to jump to conclusions. I'm just giving fair warning. If this thing unfolds like this, and there's people who knew that this was what was happening at that warehouse, I don't even care if they shut it down right then and made it all safe. You needed to come out immediately and tell the people of Reedley and the Valley exactly what happened. Guillermo, what's your thoughts on this? I have zero. I'm sick of this big government thinking they know better than us, especially when you're talking about, truly, I'm not being hyperbolic when I say this, life and death issues.
Yeah, I agree. I totally understand, because the government, and this is what they're going to say, and this is what they've been saying, hey, it's an active investigation. There's not a lot we can say. There's not a lot we can do. Yeah, I understand that. I understand this company, apparently, they were called Prestige Biotech, and they were the ones that were operating the building. At a certain point in time, and I hope, and I'm really surprised that some of the county officials, because it's a conservative-leaning board, I'm really surprised that none of them felt like, hey, I want to let you guys know this is what we found. because I think the community could be partners as well, saying, oh, you know what? Wait a minute. That's true. I saw this over here. I saw them moving this. I saw them moving that. I think at a certain point in time, you can come out with just letting the public know what's going on without necessarily giving away compromising information about the investigation. I mean, that's just common sense. There's no valid reason, especially coming out of a pandemic.
Oh, God.
There's no valid reason why any of this information could be kept. And so Gary Bredefeld held a press conference earlier. I want to know if he was alone, because if he was alone in that press conference, and Gary was pretty much calling for, I guess you can operate a lab and not be forthcoming with it as long as you don't take any federal funding. Gary wants something done where, hey, you shouldn't be operating a lab. At some point we got to have some common sense where if we know what lab more than likely was responsible for the worldwide pandemic, why in the heck would you just give out lab credentials and not? It makes zero sense.
And why do I think a small or a warehouse, a retrofitted warehouse in Reedley, may not have the most up-to-date containment infrastructure?
Thank you.
Now, I may be jumping to conclusions. Maybe they do. It doesn't seem like that would be a specialty.
But you have to have it inspected. For food, you have to have an inspection.
Oh, my gosh, man. You're talking about that list?
Yeah.
I mean, who wants to get E. coli? Malaria, COVID, and who knows? I mean, what is going on there?
And the unknown.
The unknown
viruses.
And you should, something like that, especially after the lab escape from the lab theory in terms of the origination of COVID has gone from theory to pretty much fact. Almost everyone agrees now, even the ones that wanted to imprison those early on, who said that the virus may have escaped from a lab, now concede that that's probably where it came from. And if you have anything going on in a community that's anywhere that resembles at all a lab that's doing experimentation on a deadly virus, you got to make sure, number one, you are open with the public.
Yeah.
You know, hey, this is what we're doing here, and this is that's like a nuclear reactor. I mean, you wouldn't. Yeah. But, hey, you need to tell the people, okay, we have this nuclear reactor. We're going to make sure it's containment. You know, the ones that they have, and here's the measures to make sure that if there's an accident that happens, that nuclear waste is not going to escape and make all of you sick. I mean, this is like Aaron Brockovich PG&E stuff,
isn't it?
You know.
So let's really, no pun intended, let's really dissect this, because we're assuming Chinese nationals just don't set up labs in small communities in small town America and do this just for funsies, for medical research. Who put them there? What company decided and chose Reedley, California? This is what I hypothesize. Number one, I don't think this is a one-off, folks. I think this is happening in the United States, in Africa, in South America. I think this is happening all around the world. And I don't have to look like Alex Jones with the tinfoil hat. And the fact that it was here leads me to believe that it's everywhere. The Chinese, assuming that the Chinese Communist Party, and this is a Chinese Communist Party related biotech firm that's doing this, I'm sure they studied the exact locations of where to do this.
Where they would least have a chance to be caught.
Yes. And I think there's multiple factors. Why Reedley? Well, Reedley, because it's part of the agricultural capital of the world. Let's infect the workers, the farm labor community. Let's infect the food supply. And then we're going to have a region and possibly a nation that's not going to be fed. Here's the other thing, and I think this calculation, and I don't think this bodes well for Fresno County. I'm sure that they also did a search on the medical facilities that would actually be able to respond to things. If the Chinese are wanting to have an outbreak in a community, I'm pretty sure we got chosen because we just had a hospital closure and we don't necessarily have adequate medical facilities to contain something like this. And
so they would see how the virus played out.
Here's the other
without being treated.
Exactly.
Like the Tuskegee experiment that America did on black folk.
Exactly.
Tell them they're getting treated, but they're not getting treated because they want research, which was a horrible, grotesque thing that this country did to black people.
Exactly. And I also believe that the Chinese now are getting are understanding.
Can I?
Yeah.
Because I have to do this myself. I think we need to refer to this as the Chinese Communist Party, the CCP.
Yeah.
Because when we say the Chinese,
you're right. You're correct.
I know what you're saying, and most people do, but I think we really need to separate.
Very true.
Because there's folks over in China that hate that system that they're living under. They get
sure. Yeah.
So go
and there's folks here that are Chinese that
Absolutely.
don't. Absolutely, you're right. So the Communist Party, they've done this once in Wuhan, right? My guess is if they're going to get another crack at the bat, they're not going to want to do it on their home turf. They're going to want this outbreak somewhere else in the world because they don't want to have to deal with
again.
Oh,
it makes a lot of sense. And before you all out there, I can just hear it and see it. So many folks are nodding agreement. Others are going, "Oh my gosh, what a conspiracy theory!" Thinking that the CCP would do such a thing. And let me put this on the table. And again, listen to what I'm saying specifically and what I'm not saying. What I am saying is to remove the possibility that there is selective engineering going on with deadly viruses is being extremely naive, dangerously naive, potentially catastrophically naive. RFK, Robert F. K. Jr., is getting skewered, Guillermo, because he came out and said that the COVID-19 was designed to not go after Chinese, people that are of Chinese ethnicity, and to specifically go after Jewish people. Everybody went bonkers. That is the craziest thing that's ever been said. People are saying this guy should be put up in the loony bin. Well, hold on a second. Even the folks at NIH, at CDC, and there's been a book written about it by a very reputable author on the subject of gain of function, that said there is actively going on experimentation to see if a deadly virus or bacteria could be engineered to be DNA specific. To dismiss that is being crazy. Not to say it's out there is like saying 20 years ago, you're going to have artificial intelligence take over everything. Oh, don't even say that and discuss that. Yes, that's a conspiracy theory. We don't have to worry about artificial intelligence taking over every job and taking over the world. Then look at 2023. What is everybody worried about? We're on strike because of it. It's real. So to dismiss that, as I said, could be catastrophically a mistake.
Yeah.
Because you think about it logically. If you can engineer a virus to just go after your ethnic enemies, and that's when I go back and say China is one of the most, the Chinese Communist Party, most racist parties in on the face of the earth. You look, there's not a lot of diversity in China. Mao Zedong was about Chinese people, saving Chinese people. And if you weren't a Chinese communist, he had no hesitation about lining you up and killing you. You know, a dead non-communist is better than a live non-communist. Killed millions of a mass murderer, okay? But once you get your group there and they all are a certain ethnicity, and you have, well, if we use the nuclear bomb, see, we have an existential threat facing us. If we use a nuclear bomb, then it's mutual assured destruction. We're going to destroy our homeland. But if our big catastrophic end of the world bomb is a bioengineered bomb that could go after specific ethnicities that we don't like or we feel that is our enemy, and our base is saved, that is a very powerful weapon. And when you don't, and I'll add this, that's what happens when you have a godless system like communism.
The ends justify the means. They would feel, the communists, that they would rather see everyone killed and only communists left. It's a religion. It's a secular religion, but it is a religion and capable of doing the most outrageous, grotesque, destructive, horrifying things that we as believers in God would not do because God would not permit it. It would be morally reprehensible to do something like that. But communist regimes who don't believe in God, it's about whatever they feels right in their own eyes. And if the United States would be better to everybody drop dead from some engineered, or half the population's gone. And
well, you
what
want
do you think?
You want to talk about systematic racism?
Yeah, you want to talk about us being also talked about as conspiracy theorists.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Unfortunately, Alan, I think that.
But let me ask you.
Yeah.
Aren't we seeing that today, in many cases, today's experts were yesterday's conspiracy theorists?
That's very true. Yeah.
I mean, we got to be very careful. I mean, if it's true, then and if the conspiracy is actually happening and it goes from theory to fact, then what a label you can't put a disparaging label upon it as being, well, you're a conspiracy theorist. Yeah, but what if I'm right?
Yeah. And I think that's the logical answer for a group that can't argue with something. Oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Well, no, argue with me on the facts on why they weren't just in this lab particular in Wuhan. Argue with me why you don't believe that it could have actually come out from there. Instead of just saying, you're crazy.
Where does your mind go? You just laid it out there. You're in Reedley, freaking California, Reedley. You find 1,000 rats in some surreptitious building with communist, nationalist Chinese scientists, apparently, or doctors of some sort, injecting deadly toxins into a bunch of rats. Somebody's paying them.
Mm-hmm.
They're not getting that. They're not getting paid by Newsom. They're not doing that for food stamps and welfare.
No.
I mean, so where does your mind go? You want to go, whoa, wait a minute. Follow the money.
Yeah.
And this is where did the Board of Supervisors, whoever knew about this, did they initiate that process? Did they call the FBI? Did they call the feds? At least the state government?
I'm sure they would have had to, because they can't handle that on by themselves. But if this company has a license,
it's still uncut. Well, it took a cop driving by to see a hose going in there.
Isn't that crazy?
When were they going to bust it? I mean, listen, I have no problem. I know you. I hope we come on this show in a few days. We get more information. So, you know what? It was a nothing burger. Here's why.
I hope so too.
I hope so. I have no problem with saying that, bro. But you had what you just said right there, what you just laid out. If that doesn't alarm the bejesus out of you, man, I don't know what that does.
Yeah.
That's some scary stuff.
It's scary. And here's the part where I'm kind of fleshing this out. Maybe the county, because they were a biotech company, all right? So the county knew about them. So here's my question. Do biotech companies get licensed by the county? Do they get licensed by the state? Are they inspected? Isn't there like an initial?
There has to be some kind of county review.
If I wanted to open up Autry Moreno Corner Coffee Shop, I would have to submit plans to the county.
Well, if you're in Fresno, you'd spend a year and a half getting plans done and redone.
Exactly. They would inspect. They would tell me that that water hose right there doesn't look like it's in the right proximity. Someone would have to come out and give me a license to operate to serve food.
Well, okay, let's wait and see how this plays out. My suspicions are just like yours. I haven't been in office. I cannot, right now, would not understand any excuse for not letting the people know.
Yeah.
If in fact officials did know that this company was doing this sort of thing for the safety of the people in Reedley, number one.
Yeah.
So we'll just wait and see. We're not going to take a break. We're going to, I guess, this Devin Archer testimony, catch a few folks up that may not know. This Devin Archer individual that's speaking behind closed doors to the Republican committee looking into the Hunter Biden misdeeds, potential misdeeds.
There was a fellow named Bobulinski was his last name, and this guy, Devin Archer, were the two main partners with Hunter Biden in all of his business dealings, overseas, domestic, but mostly overseas. Bobulinski said all along Joe Biden knew about all this stuff. Joe Biden is on record going from, I never discussed anything about my son's business, never spoke to him once, to now, I was never in business with my son. And now, as these revelations keep coming out, especially with the IRS agents being as believable as they have been, and on top of Bobulinski's testimony, and today Devin Archer, we're getting some drips out of that. It's not for the cameras. They're behind closed doors. I suspect that Devin Archer's testimony will at some time be out in the public. But right now, what's dripping out is Devin Archer is saying that Joe Biden was on speakerphone discussing business deals in the Ukraine and in Russia and China over 20 times. And the other testimony coming out was he was billed as the brand, the Biden brand. He was used in that capacity. The Biden brand meaning, I would have to say, is the only thing that you have to sell. I mean, you're not selling My Pillows. You're selling influence. I mean, you have nothing else that you're selling. I don't know anything.
Sir.
You know, is he selling Biden vitamins or Balance of Nature? The
Pain relief?
Biden bucks. Pain relief factor. He's selling influence. So the Biden brand, to develop the Biden brand and increase the Biden brand, is to make him as influential in American policy, governmental policy, as possible.
Yeah.
And he did a lot of this, and this is the kicker, man. This is the one. It's bad to do that anyway. I know it's a global economy, but when you get into that kind of stuff with these kind of nefarious characters over in Ukraine, what in the world are you doing? Being the vice president's son, sitting on a board in Ukraine, the third most corrupt country in the world, right off the get-go. Even if you were just pristine in your decision making, why not go work for Mobil? It's an energy company. Work for Shell. Work for some low, American company. You go to the Ukraine, so right off the bat, it smells bad. Look at that cake they just brought in, folks.
There we go.
Look at that thing. Oh my God!
Hold on, stay here, Jeremy. Jeremy's joining us.
Folks on radio, hang in. They just brought a cake in for me. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, you got to do it before we set off the fire alarm here in the studio.
Well, let me read my card here. I always like to read the card.
Oh man! Well, you just joining us. If you're just joining us,
so it's another year. No big deal. Happy birthday! I hope you have a great birthday. Thanks for being a mentor and inspiration from Jeremy. Thank you, Jeremy. I appreciate it. Well, you help mentor me every day, brother.
You got another one here. You got another. I think you're gonna want to read what I wrote on this one on the air because it's that good. It's that. Now. The candles, there's 24 candles on here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
I told you it costs more for the candles than the cake. And now for my rendition of Happy Birthday. Happy birthday, the best mayor. Oh, that's not Moreno. This buddy Alan. Oh, Hadish Moreno. Oh, thank you.
I read my part right here.
All right. It says, Alan, you're a blessing to this community, state, nation, earth, and universe. Even all the aliens. You'll never stop rocking. Love you, the Morenos. Thank you, man. I won't.
There you go.
Well, if you would have told me what's going to happen first, we're going to find a real UFO or a COVID-19 communist lab in Reedley, I would go with the UFO. Oh, thank you guys. Love you guys. Appreciate it.
Man. All right. So if you're watching, you're listening on the radio, we're going to sing happy birthday to Alan Autry. Ready? 1, 2. Oh, Jeremy, you're going to have to hit it. We're going to have to share the mic.
My thing blew out of my glasses again. My lens blew out.
There we go. We're going to get you a gift certificate to Lens Crafters. All right. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, Alan Autry. Dear Alan Autry. Happy birthday to you.
Wow.
Woo! There you go.
Well, that's not Marilyn Monroe, but I'll take it. All right. One breath. I had a breath left.
There you go.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. I tell you, I'm honored, humbled, and what kind of cake is that?
A carrot.
Is that carrot cake?
Yeah, I heard that was one of your favorites.
So you know I got to watch my blood sugar. You just trying to. You want me to bite the big one right on air, don't you?
Hey,
just so it'll go viral. I've always said the only chance I'll have in going viral on social media if I just drop dead on the air.
Oh man,
that
would be good. That would be good.
And you'd keep the cameras rolling.
Well, just until the end of the show, and then after that, just until the heartbreak, and then after that, we'd call the ambulance.
You know, that's the old story. A guy told me one time. He says, after my years as mayor, he says, Alan, when you die, I've been mayor for 8 years. You die, there's going to be 20,000 people at your funeral. 10,000 are going to be mourning. The other 10 are going to make sure you're dead.
That's horrible.
It is. That's one of the stuff things to be a mayor. You always be a likable guy. Some people dislike you, this and that. But up until running for mayor, I didn't feel like I was hated by anybody. Well, maybe
just a couple.
Not many, though. I mean, I just tried to be a decent guy. Some people didn't like me, but hey, then you become mayor, you start making decisions to make people's life. Man, you get hated.
Oh yeah.
They take that cake right down there. Oh, you want a piece of cake?
Well, you're being humble because you are liked by everybody. You really are.
Gosh,
across the board. Yeah, you are. You're across the board.
Like me. Mayor doesn't like me. Mayor doesn't like me.
When I mentioned across the board, there's not like everybody on the board.
I love him. He didn't like me.
He does. Listen, we just got to go out to dinner.
Huh?
No.
He's got to come on the show. I'm going to grill him.
All right. I know a good spot in Reedley.
All right.
But about too soon. Too soon, Guillermo. Too soon.
No, we're going to uncover this. We're Woodward and Bernstein, you and me.
Yes.
We're Carlos and Guillermo. We're going to
get to the bottom of this.
We're going to be investigative reporters. We're going to follow this. There's a rat somewhere. We smell a rat. That rat's in Reedley, and we're going to uncover it. Folks, thank you for tuning in. Thanks for all the birthday wishes. I just love you more than words can describe, so I won't even try. Thank you so much. God bless you. God bless America. And just do your best. Let God do the rest. I promise you, it's going to turn out the way it's supposed to. God bless you. And I will see you Wednesday. We'll be in here tomorrow. Talk to Tuesday, but see you Wednesday. Bye-bye.